Lose billions of pounds with this one simple trick.
uh, this is Friday Night Party Line for June 24th, 2016. Ah, fucking hell. Phone went off.
Cut.
There we go. That broke it. All right, one more time. This is Friday Night Party Line for June 24th, 2016. Here on the show tonight, we've got George. Hey, George.
Evening, everyone.
Hey. How you doing, Matt?
Not bad. Can't complain too much. I mean, I only lost 4% out of my 401k today. Could have been worse.
Ugh. We also have Nelson. Hey, Nels.
Hello.
How goes?
Sleepy. It's very Friday. It's extremely Friday today.
It is. It's a very Friday today. Also mildly yawn-tastic. It's Skojo. Hey, Skojo. Standing it up as usual.
Yeah. Nah. Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. The heat has finally broken around here.
Oh yeah, what is it, like 101 instead of 120?
No, it's actually a wonderful. I think it's like 94, maybe. No, not anywhere close to that. Today's an 80-degree day, as opposed to like Monday and Tuesday, which was like 110, 120.
Yeah, no, it just dropped down
to
to like
for living
the 70s.
in the desert.
I don't live in a desert, George. Southern
You do.
California is not 100% desert. You know that, right?
Nope.
Yeah, it's a wasteland, not a desert. You got to get it right,
Exactly. Thank you. And the mellifluous voice you just heard was, of course, Churba. Hey, Churbs.
Man. Hi. Well,
How's
one of these days
how's
I'm gonna
winter
have to
easing
get a
along?
It's fine, really. I mean, it's getting a bit nippy around the place, but what can you do, I suppose? Start a fire? Works in California, apparently.
Yeah. No, I mean like 19,000 was it acres or miles? I'm gonna go on the lower end and say acres.
It would have been acres,
is on
because
fire.
19,000 square miles is a fucking hilariously large plot of land.
That is not unheard of in California. In fact, Governor Brown just declared a state of emergency. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of crazy right now. Things are on fire. Lots of things are on fire. All right, so
that would actually be an area bigger than Los Angeles on fire.
that is not the first. That would not be the first
That
time.
really wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By about hold on, math. By about 3 times.
Yeah. No. Still.
California's a really big state.
It
Los
is
Angeles
really
is 502 square miles. So
Yeah.
it's probably not going to be 16,000 square miles on fire.
I mean,
Isn't
typically they measure these things in acres, but you know.
Yeah. Acres. All right. Well, today on the show we've got lots of bad things to discuss and talk about.
It's very okay if you just totally skip this one. It's going to be Debbie Downer, the podcast.
Yeah, kind of. Until the last topic, which is sort of meant to be a palate cleanser, but really, folks, this is
It's been rough.
not going to be a happy one. Anyways, so last week, in order to not go through a case of tonal whiplash, transitioning into a topic of, so light and fluff as E3, we did not talk about the shooting that took place in Orlando, and I think it's worth starting off the show and saying that how horrific of an event that was, and that really this just happens way too often. Ugh.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, though, it seems the Democrats in the House and the Senate have finally decided to grow a backbone. Wherever the hell they were these past 6 years, these past 7 years, they finally decided, hey, maybe we might decide to, take a page out of the Republicans' playbook and actually do something drastic. Sit-ins and faux filibusters. Both of which more or
No,
less.
that was a real
nothing.
filibuster.
That was a legit
That was an
filibuster.
actual, real filibuster. Unlike the one.
I thought it
that
did
they
not
were
meet
doing
one of the
before.
technical
Oh
requirements.
no, it was
for a
real.
The floor
problem,
for 17 or 15 and a half hours.
The problem with the Democratic Party in the United States is that they will fight for the barest sliver of the milk toastiest progressive agenda.
And slightly flawed,
Yeah,
I'd like to add.
it's like terror watch list is not.
Yeah, the
like,
no-fly list is not great.
Yeah.
If your goal is to stop anyone from buying guns, because frankly we don't, then okay, sure, use this flawed system. Maybe that's an edge, a wedge where you can say, oh well, what about like domestic abusers? That's a real they shouldn't have guns because it's obvious there's statistical correlation between them and people that go off on shooting sprees. Like,
At the very
some gun
least,
control.
See,
At the
I
very
think what
least,
you're
it's
doing wrong
something.
there is you're using statistics to
Well, yeah.
inform policy. That is
Um,
not how we do it in this country.
But even if it's a game of chicken where they're telling the Republicans, like, oh, hey, you want terrorists to have guns? Like, that is also a
They're
legitimate
really bad.
strategy. I mean, it's not working because
not good
the
at it.
Republicans are like, yes.
Yeah, here's
No,
my
because
problem
then
with their sit-in.
Turn
Is
around
that
and go, yes, we could stop the terrorists from having guns, but at what cost?
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Oh,
I
don't
mean,
know. Less deaths.
yeah, less people dying.
The
Yeah,
problem with the no-fly list is it's shit.
Oh yeah, it's terrible.
I mean, that's the
That's the
problem.
problem.
It's hard to get off of it.
So-
Totally
test
get
that you're on
behind
it.
the universal
It's hard to
background
even
checks,
know.
but the
Yeah.
terror watch list, just fuck that now.
But I mean, it does. I
That
mean,
would
I
be
have
great.
to admit, the terror watch list is a good argument. In practicality, it sucks. But like when you say well, if they're on the terror watch list, why are they allowed to buy guns? It kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
On a philosophical ground.
if we're gonna I think someone mentioned something where they're like, if we're gonna pretend that they're dangerous, then maybe we should not let them buy guns.
Yeah.
We should either stop pretending that they're dangerous, or we should stop them from buying guns.
The problem that you have here is that the real solution is to reform the way that we do the no-fly list and the terror watch list,
But
and
there's
then reform the way that we handle out whether they could buy guns or not.
but
But
there's no
unfortunately,
political capital or momentum towards either of those two things.
yeah. So
Like,
Don't know
there-
why we
And
don't want to do it better, but okay.
The great thing is that every time there's even a bit of momentum on an even completely flawed progressive thing, the entire American left devolves into infighting immediately.
well, that's what we're
Like,
good at.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus.
Everyone's like, oh, it's not perfect. It's like, well, no, because there is no way. This is like literally the least we could do as a country.
Don't get started on this subject.
Yeah.
Like
No.
literally, that is our whole presidential race right now on the left side, and why
Yep.
you have a bunch of people that are like, I need 100%, or it's not worth doing. But see, it's funny. The argument is being said on the other side too. They're like, well, that won't prevent all the shootings. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's like,
but it
Who
that's
cares
correct.
as long as we just prevent some of them?
yeah. They're like, well,
Yeah.
but it won't do all of them. It wouldn't solve this shooting, but it might solve this one, or maybe 5 people less would die here, but it would still happen. And you're just like, yes.
We have gun
Yeah.
legislation that makes the proposed US measures, even from the left, look like fucking a right-wing militia.
Mhm.
And even we didn't stop all of the fucking mass shootings. But we don't have that many, guys. Like, almost none. Pretty close. It's a
Yeah, but
good
you
try.
guys don't even live near each other. I
You
mean,
really
That's
gotta
true.
be
You
dedicated
gotta
to
drive
the
like
mass.
5 hours.
And you also
Anybody
have to
who
be really
wants to go do a
dedicated
mass shooting will have to will probably have to drive like 3 hours to get to wherever they want to shoot up. And
And
by
by
the
then they're
time they're
hungry.
halfway, they're like, I could just use a beer right now, and then forget all about it.
You get halfway there and you have a Snickers, and then you find out that you didn't actually want to shoot up the whole place. You just were a bit hungry.
dude, you know how many? I bet you there's a ton of shootings that are stopped because a person like had a donut or something along the way. And was like,
Mhm.
The world's not that bad.
I just want a cup of coffee, or I just want a McDonald's. What was that guy? That movie? The guy like gets to McDonald's right after breakfast ends.
see, and that is why McDonald's has all day breakfast now to prevent further shootings that could happen. in the
I
future.
forget that movie. It was so stupid.
I will be honest. McDonald's all-day breakfast has made my life appreciably better.
I
See,
haven't actually partaken of
neither
the
have I.
all-day breakfast yet.
I haven't partaken of a McDonald's. That's pretty much why I haven't done that. If I did go to McDonald's, now at least I know there's something I can get there, which is the all-day
Yeah.
breakfast.
Those sausage egg McMuffins, so good.
I can't eat those. I mean, I
All
love
right,
them.
back to
Don't get me wrong.
the senseless
The
slaughter of
tragedy.
people.
Yeah.
Can you really blame
So-
us for wanting to change the topic to literally anything else?
I know.
So I think we all agree the no-fly list is a shitty thing, and we should either fix it or get rid of it.
Yep.
Yeah. But
And
as
that universal background checks is really, they should have given up on the fucking no-fly list bullshit and just
Well-
said, we want universal background checks, fuck everything
they
else.
tried to do both.
Yeah,
They
well,
tried to do both.
They had
Yeah,
two
but-
bills. That's because. So here's my. I have a hypothesis, and it's a very bad techie hypothesis.
Uh-oh.
It is, I am an engineer going to talk about the problems with politics. Are you ready?
It's a
All right,
system. You
everybody,
can totally do this.
Brace yourselves. Get your engineering mood on. Settle in. Have a cuppa, and we'll get into this. All right, ready, Nelson?
Yeah.
Go.
One could make the argument that getting a bill passed into a law is a similar thing as many other project management tasks, right? Because you need to get, a coalition together, you need to make sure that it's good, you need to make sure it has features you want and doesn't have bugs. There is some overlap. The process by which the United States Congress works, if that was in the private sector, those people would be fired.
Nelson,
Like-
usually your company doesn't have one half or more of the company actively trying to destroy your.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That
I mean, but that's how governments differ from corporations. You can't really.
true.
You can't say like, well, apparently democracy just sucks.
I mean, there needs to be very robust education systems in democratic countries so that we can actually. I believe in technocrats in government. I believe that the people that know a lot about things should be in charge of those things, generally speaking.
You know what's the problem,
But we
though?
need to have an
Yeah, like-
electorate that also thinks that, so that
Let
it can
me-
elect those people.
Here's
Nelson.
There's a simpler way to solve this. There's a simpler way.
Hmm.
As soon as you can get the NRA's money out of the system, because like
It's not
vast
just their
majority,
money, though.
I'm just saying the vast majority of like gun owners believe in universal background checks. It's only the freaking wacko like one world like
But
the federal
because
government's
of,
coming to my
because
house.
of
Don't care about it.
gerrymandering, and because of the way that incumbencies work, those are the people that have political power. Like because
here's
of the
the fundamental problem.
in our Congress and the way that and the basically the mechanisms that like allow that cause Congress people to act in various ways. Building certain coalitions, spending such and such time, trying to raise money from various groups, having to deal with like the public and their input in a very inefficient and overwhelming, honestly, way. All of those things, all of those systemic problems, create a situation where I would contend that there is no way for the Congress of today, in the kind of with all of these systemic issues that it has, for them to actually do their jobs. Like they can't. Even if they wanted to, they just couldn't. Like,
well, wait, you're not really going to get a counter argument that like, well, if we made it easier for people to be able to not feel like they're going to lose their seat in a primary if they.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. There's no one solution, and part of it is definitely lobbyist money. Part of it is the crazies that are the loudest people, and also they vote.
Yeah.
But here's
low voter turnout is, I think, a big issue.
The issue with trying to fill a Congress with technocrats is that just like every other group of people, but I think maybe especially technocrats, is that they have a propensity to rally around a charismatic figure without, in the same way as every other group, thinking about the facts of the situation. But the problem is that there is also this propensity to not. They have just as much. Technocrats often have justification as everyone else.
That's true.
So you'll have the technocrats in Congress, and they'll be looking at the constituency in, say, the South, which has a enormously high poverty rate.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll be wondering, well, gee, why are these people why are these people having a problem with a legislation X, Y, and Z when it's a fundamentally linked to their societal situation?
Hey, wait, can I just demonstrate something real quick? Nelson, who did you support early in the Democratic primary?
Oh, yeah, I voted for Sanders.
Yes, so you had a choice between the populist, rah, 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 and the technocrat, and who did you pick?
You know why I voted for Sanders?
Because
I live in New York.
Yeah, but you still picked. No, it doesn't matter, though. You're demographic. You have to look at yourself as a demographic force across the country. And so if you look at yourself and say you make that decision, then a bunch of people like you are also making that decision.
Okay.
So how can you, if you want technocrats, but you want to reward populists who like go around and just say what people want to hear with no clear plan on how to do it or any realistic way to actually get to that plan, you are the part of the problem. The electorate is also a big part of this problem.
Agreed.
So how about that Gary Johnson, eh?
I just wanted to call you out.
It's not just technocrats, though. If for some reason, somehow, every member of Congress got replaced by, like,
a robot?
A robot, it wouldn't solve the problem. It is a systemic problem. It's sort of very similar to a lot of game design problems. Like, how do you prevent griefing, right? The problems that Congress have are the problems of griefing.
Actually, I think it's more of the problem
of... The only way to permaban someone in real life...
It's not permabanning.
Are you saying we need to elect Blizzard?
I'm saying that we need to figure out mechanisms that will basically mind control Congress people to pass legislation.
So we need to elect Blizzard.
Yeah. No, so the real thing you're explaining, what you mentioned earlier, it really just comes back to gerrymandering, because what you're running into right now is a problem of min-maxing. So if you want to maximize the amount of Republicans or Democrats in an area, right, you gerrymander a certain thing, and then you don't. The problem you run into is then you don't have to worry about the other side. You have to worry about attacks from your own side even more.
From your fringe.
Yeah.
Fringe
So
is doing a good
then
job.
they end up pushing both sides towards the fringes more instead of the middle, and then we have problems. But that, yeah, it is a min-max problem. I mean, we're at a point where back in the day, the most liberal Republican was more liberal than the most conservative Democrat, and and so you had a big, geographic / ideological mix within the parties, and we just don't have that anymore. So, I mean, it's still there, but it's being muted by the way we've set everything up at this point.
Yeah, and I'm sure, polls of gun owners, a lot of the vast majority of them support a lot of the kind of universal background checks, like closing the gun show loophole, magazine size restrictions, reasonable things.
See, here's the other problem I think that occurs, and the internet's this is a problem the internet has. I think a lot of people who would be for reasonable gun restrictions but are against it are mainly because they see the arguments from the fringe of the other side, and they view that as the ultimate goal of everybody who has that opinion. So they are like, well, we can't give an inch because I've seen what their opinion is, and it's going to slippery slope right to that, and that's where they all secretly want to be. Because
here's the thing.
Lib is the libiest lib that ever lived.
You know what my position on guns is? I would be totally okay if they were completely banned.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I enjoy guns are cool. Shooting guns is fun. It is a fun activity. If we could have what we have now and have, tens of thousands of people dying every year, or we would just ban all guns, I'd be like, yeah, of course, obviously ban all guns. If those were the two options, definitely.
See, I hear you.
There's a reasonable compromise to be had.
Nelson, I hear you, and fundamentally I agree with you. But people have I've heard people make similar arguments about cars and saying we need to keep humans from driving. We need to make every car autonomous.
I agree. I agree with that.
You can still go to a track. You can still go to a car range.
I think all guns should be controlled by computers.
by robots?
Yeah, by robots.
I don't think any gun should be controlled by robots.
Fucking will.
But see, that's the problem. Is they know fundamentally that even though you are compromising somewhere in the middle, that your ultimate feel-good goal would be to get rid of all firearms, and because of that, the most powerful people I think that actually are able to get through to people are the ones who are into guns but want to limit it in some way.
Wait, hold on a second. There are people in guns?
Into guns.
Little tiny people.
Guns.
What do you think a bullet is, Victor? Victor, do you know what a bullet is? It's a little house with a little person inside.
I thought I knew, but apparently I didn't.
There was I was listening to the Bill Maher podcast or of his show, and he had some crazy righty chick on it, and then some attaché to Colin Powell, and I guess she thought that he was going to agree with her on everything, and he was just like, well, no, actually we should restrict guns. I mean, I joined the military so that I would learn how to use a gun properly, and I don't think everybody should have all military grade weaponry all the time. And she was just like, no, my argument is being destroyed. But I mean, people who are, pragmatic, are into the same thing as the people who are concerned are going to be the most effective. People like me who barely can hold a handgun without kind of getting creeped out.
Point it away from you.
Are not great.
Yeah,
also not at other people.
Don't point it at anything you want to destroy, which actually gets, a little bit tricky sometimes because there's things to destroy behind everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what they don't tell you about guns? Is that they go through all the things.
Yeah.
Well, for example,
Walls and a house. Like here's like the thing that drives me.
Wait, yeah, you have some first-hand experience here, George.
No comment.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let me settle this issue by saying, when you're cleaning your Glock, remember that to disassemble a Glock, you do have to pull the trigger because there is no hammer release. Make sure the chamber is empty, visually sure, before you do this, or else you'll need to call a plasterer.
And
Indeed.
when Trippa says visually, from the side, not from the front.
From the side, yeah, not not like the barrel there.
What's going
Don't
on?
be
Pull it
interfering
back.
with
Take your pinky. Put your pinky where the bullets go. If
And then
there's
fire your
nothing
pinky.
there, if your pinky goes in the barrel, then there's nothing there, and it's safe. No, but here's the thing. Like, I've heard a lot of people argue about how they need assault rifles for home defense, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
No, George. No.
Those
They're
bullets
not
go through
assault
every wall
rifles.
in- They are assault rifles. They're
Oh my God.
semi-automatic assault rifles.
Oh my God! Don't get. Oh my God, people.
We're about to have some assaulty rifle owners
Mm.
soon.
Oy.
I said to my dad, I'm like, why does anybody need an assault rifle? He says, an AR-15 isn't an assault rifle. I said, what do you think the AR stands for?
Armalite rifle.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
actually stands for Armalite rifle. But
Yeah.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
But
sorry.
yeah. Lots of call-outs on people on this show. That's a good one.
I know.
I must admit,
That's good, though.
like,
We keep each other honest.
just as a slight tangent, because we've never had one of those on the show before.
What?
What?
Fucking, I do think the left would, and especially the anti-gun left, would strongly benefit from learning a lot more about firearms, because people go, oh, you don't need to know about firearms to make laws. And well, yeah, no, that's
You
a
should
fair
learn about
point.
things.
Yeah, you
When-
really need to know a lot about firearms to write proper law. Like any
But-
time they say clip when they clear
God.
the magazine,
No, they mean clip. It just doesn't apply. The law just doesn't apply. They said clip.
you have
no,
lost
I'm-
all credibility with
I'm not just
anyone.
thinking about that. I'm thinking about things like, you remember back in the day of the assault weapons ban with Dianne Feinstein trying to
Laughable.
define a part of a rifle. She meant a folding stock. She said a shoulder thing that goes up.
I mean,
That's
It actually goes
fucking
to the side.
embarrassing.
Sure,
but
in a
I
lot of cases.
hold on, Sherba, I didn't hear you. What did you say? She said it's a what?
She said it's a shoulder thing that goes up.
Yes.
You know what? I'm not gonna beat her up for that because I
Yeah.
have those moments where I'm just like, it's the thing with the ink inside, and you push the clicky thing, and it comes out, and you're right.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I'll hold it against her because the question she was asked was about muzzle devices, which in the law meant things like flash hiders.
Okay.
Literally the
Hide any
other
flashes.
end of the gun. As for home defense, I don't particularly want to toot my own horn, but I'm pretty good with a gun. You know what I have for home defense? This.
So, what is that?
It's an extendable baton.
Oh,
It is
there
a
you go.
piece of
Oh, it's a
steel
baton.
that folds. It is an extendable piece of steel that I can thwack someone with.
I have
You
a
can't
basket for
defend
it.
your house with a baton or a fucking dirty great piece of timber or something like that. Then you
I have a
probably
Louisville
can't do
slugger.
it.
I have 4 swords and 2 wooden swords.
Oh,
within
God,
arm's
no.
reach.
I'm not the only one that has a sword for home defense.
I don't have it for home defense, but if someone like
Yeah.
came in, that's what I would grab.
Do you know
It's
what
not
I
a sword,
have for
but I
home
do have a
defense?
curry in the cupboard.
I have a police station.
Yeah.
It's like a quarter of a mile from my house.
I'd probably just kick them.
Yeah, the
It's like
cops are
kicking.
not that close to where I
Yeah.
live. So
Or I could throw a shoe at them.
Well, it'd be like 3 hours away, right?
You know what I have that's super dangerous? I have this.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is super.
Oh, those are fun. I
I'm
love
going
the
to.
green
I'm
thing.
going to. I can hurt someone
Oh, those, yeah.
definitively.
Oh, yeah.
Like I
the
can.
final line in home defense. Get out your
Visual
calipers!
Visual jokes on the audio podcast.
It's
Oh,
a
yeah.
calipers. It's calipers, audience. It's
They're
metal calipers.
really, really pointy. If
They
you-
are
fuck yeah.
really pointy. And then if you really want to be vindictive about it, you got the extending bit in here. Just
Yeah, the
Ooh.
depth gauge.
Well,
But,
so
yeah,
do we want to
All
talk
right,
about
so-
like,
for home defense
the
is
other
that-
aspect
Yeah.
of this shooting?
the
you mean the
horrible
fact?
hate crime.
Where did
Yeah,
it
the
go?
horrible hate crime, which, as the story is continuing to develop, it appears to be that the perpetrator, that the purpose of the attack was at first by the perpetrator, smoke screened by them as a Islamist extremist attack. Because they were pledging allegiances to multiple conflicting organizations. But apparently it was really just a hate crime against the LGBT community purported by a closet gay man. And it was
Well, I mean,
really sad.
you
It's
can't.
Really, really sad.
Yeah, he's probably not connected to a terrorist cell, but who knows?
They've
if it's,
definitively determined he was not actually connected to
Oh
any
no, I'm
terrorist
not
cell.
saying. Yeah, I'm just saying because I know he just like decided to like say, oh, I'm all these different parts, but he still could have been motivated by
Oh, he was
a religious
he was
idea.
definitely motivated
Oh,
by
it's
religious
absolutely,
ideas.
absolutely.
They're very prevalent in the United States.
Yeah.
It was the tremendous cognitive dissonance in his brain that was, I am, like as you said, he was
Gay.
closeted. I am gay, and yet my religion and everything I believe says this is a sin and horrible, and what do I do? And
I mean, evidently he was a regular at the club that he went to shoot up.
Well, I mean, what they were saying is he was there a couple times. That could have been him.
Yeah.
A month, couple times a month.
Well, who knows how long you want to take to work out your plan,
Yeah.
right?
there's-
I mean, the thing that's hard for me, I guess, is that I would consider the guy to be mentally ill, but
Yeah.
I've been berated.
clearly.
I have been berated online by saying, "Well, we need to work on this, mental illness." This guy's like telling his coworkers that he wants to kill people, and no one's reporting him in. It's like he was beating his ex-wife, and like he wasn't apparently reported or got some sort of
Yeah.
do not you can I forget what it's not a like a desist or whatever, but it's something where they end up taking in Pennsylvania. They take away your guns if you get it. If you've been found to be beating like your wife,
Yeah,
they just come in and just take all your weapons.
in
Yeah.
both Australia and England, if you have any sort of gun license, even if it's for like paintball guns, even if it's for crossbows,
You need a license for paintball guns?
You need a license for crossbows?
yep. Actually, the one behind crossbows is kind of reasonable, but I'll get to that in a minute. But
Crossbows are dangerous.
even if you have deactivated historical
Guns are
weapons that you have a
dangerous.
license for, if you are stuck with an AVO, which is an apprehended violence order, or a domestic violence order, a DVO, then they come in and they take all of your shit, and you cannot have it back until
Good.
that DVO is cleared, and only if it's cleared with you being innocent. If you are
Well-
in any way guilty, you are never seeing that shit again.
No.
Good.
that sounds reasonable.
Well, so the argument that people were hitting me on is they were saying, well, this guy's not mentally ill. He just had an anger management problem and whatever, and by calling him
That's a
mentally
mental
ill,
illness.
I know, right? That's what I thought. But they were making an important point, but I feel like it's not really happening, which is they were like, well, you can't just call these people who shoot everything up as mentally ill because then that makes everybody who's mentally ill, people afraid that they're gonna like shoot people up. And I'm like, I have never encountered people who can't like differentiate between mental illness that is like depression or actually
there's-
like paranoid schizophrenia where you're like, or something where you're actually possibly going to shoot somebody.
Well, there is a there is an argument to be made that making that point, like calling that out as like the not maybe the problem, although a lot of people are like, oh, this is the problem.
Yeah.
But saying like, oh, this is a significant, problem, definitely puts less focus on the maybe more like systemic societal issues. Like,
Yeah, well, I mean, isn't
the
one of
United
our
States, I am not surprised that hate crimes are happening to,
LGBT
Latino
community.
LGBT
Yeah,
youth
oh, yeah,
because
no.
it's the fucking United States. It's a garbage country full of assholes. Like, we have horrible cultural problems.
I would like to
still.
disagree with the garbage country part, but
I think the issue here is that when you're trying to discuss an issue, when you're trying to discuss a situation like what happened in Orlando,
Yeah.
you can't just pick. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's fantastically convenient to try to distill a situation like that into one issue. It's something that we
It is.
like to do. We like to put everything into nice, one digestible chunk, put a ribbon around it, and call it a day. But the fact of the matter is that what happened there was the conflation of several complex and intricate issues
oh yeah.
Yep.
interacted together. You have the problem with self-radicalization in the United States. You have the problem with
Undiagnosed mental illness.
undiagnosed mental illness and prevailing hostility in culture in
Towards
several
LGBT,
parts of the United States
yes.
towards the LGBT community. It's a mix of a whole bunch of different issues, and it's really hard. And if you want to focus on one, you'll have people coming from everywhere saying, "Well, that's not the issue. This is the issue." And
Yeah.
you're making
Well,
a problem.
that kind of goes towards the left destroying themselves because
Yep.
because
Exactly.
we all have because you're the loyal opposition and you have your pet
Yeah.
issue that you care about the most. You want to pull everything towards that issue, and then
This
unfortunately
is
it
a
ends up
class issue, not a race issue.
yeah, like because I'm like, well, one of our problems is our mental health system in
Yeah.
the U.S. sucks super ass.
We
Another
have
problem
one?
we have is
Yeah.
our domestic violence. We have lots of domestic violence in this country, and we do nothing about it. He was beating his ex-wife.
Yep.
Why wasn't he arrested? What the fuck? Why didn't that happen?
hmm
It would be so much easier if Obama actually just came and took all the guns.
It would be. It would really simplify things considerably.
Yeah, but then I would have to hear all the internet stuff being like, I was right! I was right!
I want him to take all the guns, tag them, and just lock them up for a year. And we're just going to
That's
put them
reasonable.
away
That's a
for
good
a year,
compromise.
and we're going to see what happens.
Yeah. That's a good compromise.
It's like, if, suddenly there's just bad guys running amok all over the street, we'll give the guns
with
back.
little
Right.
two-pronged forks poking each
Actually,
other in the eyes.
If
I wanna see
suddenly
him
magically the bad guys have all the guns somehow that we've locked away, then we'll give everyone their guns back.
I want to see Obama take all of the guns and then give them back, but to different people.
Ah, there we go.
I'd be
Like
like,
a
oh,
shuffle,
this-
shuffle, shuffle.
What
Like
the hell
a
is
big
this?
amosexual key party.
Give it back to... Give,
You stick your AR-15 in the umbrella stand by the door, and if your missus picks up a different AR-15, she's going home with him. In fact, I think that may be how they
all
do
the
it. with
minorities
the
and women.
Yeah. You know
My
what?
favorite reaction to all of this hysteria and the right coming out and saying, well, everybody, the right, Trump, because even the NRA came out and said it was crazy. Trump saying that be a completely different situation. I mean, can you imagine anything scarier than an entire nightclub filled with people who have been drinking, carrying heat?
yeah, that's
I
always
think
my...
I saw a story that some of the people that were dead in the nightclub were shot by people in the nightclub.
Well, they don't.
That
They
actually
haven't really
happened.
confirmed any of that stuff yet.
Yeah, I don't know if that is.
I mean, you probably read that on RT
I don't know.
at this point.
That's
Goodness
fair.
gracious,
it was,
RT.
It was
I mean,
It was a Facebook link. I didn't click it.
Oh Jesus! Well,
Oh,
if you didn't look at it, how could you?
Are you
Oh,
repeating Facebook?
Yeah.
Without
George is just
George, what's
you-
wrong? What? No,
Dude,
no.
This article says that Obama's chief advisor is a radical Muslim who wants to.
That's not on my
law.
Facebook feed.
Why?
No,
why
it's- Get
But it's
your
on
facts
mine.
straight. It's not
Alright.
Obama's advisor. It's Clinton's advisor.
Oh,
it's Clinton's
Fart
campaign
Obama.
manager.
I thought it was Fart Obama or whatever.
Miss-
I love
Miss
this. I love
Abedin.
get your facts straight.
Get your facts straight.
All right.
So-
well, we clearly this entire mess is an issue that is both complex and not solvable by five guys on a podcast. If
But it's
solvable
black
at
and white.
all.
It's black and white. It's just.
I think if we
But,
get back to the point, Judas may just be a little bit hungry and it's making them grumpy. I think the problem could be solved by five guys.
At any rate, we do have other things to discuss, and if you want to learn more about the incident that happened in Orlando, if you haven't heard about it already, if somehow this podcast is the first you've heard about the stuff that's gone on in Orlando, you may want to reconsider how you get your news. Go read about it in a major newspaper. But moving along, we need to talk about the insanity that's happened over the last 24 hours. That is Brexit.
Oh yeah, this is a very simple issue actually.
Anybody who on this podcast who thought that Brexit was actually going to happen, say aye. You thought it was going to happen? You thought they were going to leave?
Yeah, it's like
I
they're
thought there was
wankers.
enough of a chance that I actually liquidated all of my remaining UK investments a week ago.
Oh!
Wow, that's putting your money where your mouth is.
No kidding.
Because I figured that if Brexit went ahead, all of my investments would lose a lot of money. If I liquidated them all, and then I had a bit of egg on my face because it didn't happen, I could reinvest that money and lose a lot less.
That's true.
Yeah, no, that's a very logical
true.
decision. Also, you were betting on the British telling Europe to fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
kind of a
It's a pretty safe bet.
Also,
So,
let's not forget
for
that
those of you who
access to a lot of extra polling that simply doesn't make it to the news because we already have enough polling in the news that gets reported on in Agri. I have access to a lot of the finer detail stuff, and a lot of the finer detail stuff gave me quite a bit of cause to be a little more cautious than some.
You were like these old people.
Just
I'm sorry,
a
I lost you there for a
recap.
moment, Scott.
Oh, I said these old people are gonna vote.
No. Just as a recap for because we know our demographic, it's mostly American. For you Americans who are not aware of what Brexit is, Brexit was a referendum.
That's what it is.
Yeah, Brexit was a referendum in the United Kingdom to whether or not the UK should leave the European Union or stay in. Now, strictly speaking, a referendum is basically a asking the citizenry what they think the government should do, but in most cases, the parliament would actually follow through on the will of the people. It would be basically political suicide if they didn't.
I mean, it's
That,
political
however-
suicide if they did.
But
Because-
as it turns out, while basically nobody really thought that the UK was going to leave the European Union, turns out they did.
Well,
58 to 42% leave to stay.
52-40.
3% margin with 30% of the population failing to vote.
Can I just note that I feel like referendums like this should have like a 60% threshold to pass.
No,
Be a lot more than
because
just a simple
in-
majority.
before the end of the year, maybe, when Scotland and North Ireland have their referendums,
Oh boy.
referenda, those you're gonna want that 51%.
No, I don't give a crap. I'm not part. I'm just talking about when you leave something up to the masses to decide. You're going to end up having the populist position again, like we were referring to like this. It's not really thinking about the long-term aspect of the problem. They're going to just be like, yeah, let's stick it to these guys or whatever, and not really think it through completely.
Yeah, it was all the old people.
Yep.
It's all we want our empire back.
Well-
Now we're losing Scotland and Ireland. I guess we just get rid of this United Kingdom bullshit.
They still have Wales.
Call ourselves England.
They've got,
Yeah, we'll see how long they can hold on to Gibraltar.
Oh yeah, they're losing Gibraltar. I'm
Yeah.
betting that.
Spain's
Spain already
gonna
asked
come in
for
and
dual
go like,
custody.
Nom.
Yeah. Spain's already like, hey, so we should share custody.
Yeah.
What's happening, guys?
I mean, you already basically said, you don't want it anymore. Oh,
I
man.
did not know they owned Gibraltar.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
That's
it's
part of the empire, man.
It's part of the empire.
How
Worst
did they
case scenario,
get
you know what actually would be a terrible scenario?
Hmm.
A Falkland Islands war in Gibraltar.
Is there
I
enough
would
room?
not be completely surprised if there was some minor
Armed
little
conflict?
minor little armed conflict between England and Spain.
That is
With
sort
the-
of the greater.
If
risk
Boris
of it.
Johnson becomes prime minister, he would do it.
Oh,
Pretty
no.
fucking- it'd have to be pretty fucking minor because Gibraltar's only like 6 square kilometers.
That's true. 800 people in Gibraltar voted for Brexit. They voted to leave.
Well,
They would
Isn't
have
there like
in
50,000
Gibraltar.
people there?
800 out of 30,000. Yeah.
30,000. My
Yeah,
mistake.
it was not a close race.
It was the percent of a percent of a percent, is what
Can
it
I-
was.
It was like
It
5%.
was, as races go, it was about as close as Hillary Clinton's victory over Bernie.
Ooh.
Can I just point out something that I thought was really funny? Everybody's like, "Oh yeah, Scotland will leave now." Well, it's funny because a few months ago we were all like, "Man, Scotland shouldn't leave the UK. It needs to stay together." And now
Yeah,
the
well-
UK's like, "Peace out to the European Union." We're like, Scotland should leave the UK and go.
Yeah.
It should. It should.
yeah,
Scotland
they really
should.
should.
Because EU.
Because nobody thought the UK wouldn't be part of the European
I
Union.
know,
It was
and in all fairness, I thought Scotland should leave the United Kingdom anyway because the United Kingdom are assholes to them.
That's true.
In all
No
fairness,
reason to
like,
stay.
people are saying,
Well,
like, Scotland is seriously considering it. Ireland is seriously considering reunification.
Yeah, I know,
That
right?
is crazy. And
I
all
was
of
should
that-
do
do that.
If they
That
only
would be
had done
good.
this like 20 or 30 years ago.
Yep.
I have living relatives who are actually still in jail because people were fighting very hard against fucking this split, and now it's just like reunification, good idea.
Well, because every major nation looked at Brexit and said, "Oh man, this is a stupid idea. What the hell? I mean, they can't."
Well.
I was
Everybody
watching
except
Bloomberg.
France and Greece
I was-
and Denmark.
I was watching.
Amsterdam.
I was watching Bloomberg last night.
To be fair,
And they were saying that they had heads of major companies coming in. There's like some airline, Ryanair, and they're like,
fucking yeah, Ryanair is owned
I actually
by an
flew on
Irish guy
Ryanair.
now known as the. They're probably ones who are going to be affected more than any other carrier by Brexit,
yeah,
simply because their entire fucking bread and butter, their whole company is based around the EU being readily accessible, so that they can offer
yeah.
like a £20 fare to fucking wherever.
Corporations are already are implementing plans to move staff out of the UK and
Yeah.
back to mainland Europe, moving their headquarters and everything.
The company I work
mean-
for has a big location in Edinburgh, and I'm like, well, hopefully Scotland goes back to the EU, so we don't have any problems.
Edinburgh.
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 No,
Edinburgh.
not borough. Edinburgh. Bruh.
Bro.
It's bruh. Imagine you're a frat boy, bruh.
Yo, I can't pronounce like most normal American words. So let's go.
Edinburgh.
One thing I do like is that the most likely derogatory word Sassenach is coming back into vogue. I like that word.
Have
I
you been
found that
watching
apparently in
Outlander?
French Canada people use tabernacle as a swear, which I kind of like.
That's pretty good.
Tabernacle?
Yeah, tabernacle.
Nelson, have you been watching Outlander?
Yes, I have. I'm totally
I saw
pro
your
SNP.
I saw your tweet about the True Jacobite King, and I was
Yep.
like, oh, I bet he's an Outlander guy.
Yep.
Chris has very much dragged me into that show.
It's,
I haven't watched
I have
it yet.
enjoyed it very much.
It's pretty good.
Did you see last week's episode?
I am still way behind. I'm like
Oh.
halfway through the first season.
Oh, you need to catch up.
Yeah.
Last week's episode was so satisfying. You'll enjoy it. You'll know when you find it.
All right.
So just a connector to both events. Can we just note that Trump has not reacted to any of these events without tying it directly to himself?
Oh yeah. I love the optics of him visiting a golf course as every global market crashes. Like that was
He goes to
good.
Scotland and it's like, hey!
Real good job, Corey. Although I guess
I-
Corey works for CNN now and is getting paid $500,000 a year to be an asshole on television. And people keep saying, what problem do we have with all these assholes on television? It's because we pay them $500,000 a year.
I like the optics of Donald Trump claiming that he landed in Scotland and that people were all around him chanting, leave, leave, leave.
That
Every
wasn't-
single district of Scotland was overwhelmingly voting Remain.
No,
So
they were chanting leave to him.
He did say something terrible about Brexit, but that was a parody account. That was the infamous
Hello?
real Donald Trump account.
Hi, can you guys
Not
hear me?
noticed at the time.
Yeah, we
Yes.
can.
Okay, my entire audio system just died.
Uh,
And I'm bringing it back to. I'm reassembling the audition session so I can get the recording back going. Here we go.
Okay.
All right,
Also,
we're back.
if
We're
you've
recording
Donald
again.
Trump account?
If you've been
So-
watching carefully, you'll notice me selling a bunch of Steam cards. You can tell it's happening because my watch lights up every fucking time.
So when did you cut out?
I cut out maybe about a minute and a half ago.
So did we talk about Trump?
I caught the. I heard you talk a little bit about Trump.
it's a good
there
thing
we
for
go.
the live listeners.
Good thing for the live listeners. There you go. Special exclusive
Special treat.
content.
Everyone else says, "Oh, we'll cut this out in editing." No, we'll
Yeah.
put it back in editing.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep going. I like the comment where he was like, they were like, so did you talk to your foreign policy advisors about Brexit at all? And he's like, why would I need to do that?
There's nothing to talk about.
There's nothing to talk about. You're just like, oh, okay.
Hold on. There is somebody who wants to get in on the chat. His name is let's see here. Miles
Put me on the
Linden.
spot.
Miles, thank you for watching the show. Unfortunately, only we may chat on the Hangout. There you go.
Really,
It's a show.
we're 5 strong already. It's already we're talking
Yeah.
it further pretty hard.
All right. Well then, Nelson, you have to go somewhere. I think
Yeah,
That time?
it's 10 p.m. dinner time.
about that time. All right. Well, we were going to talk about one more thing, but maybe we'll hold that, and we'll have a nice, fluffy, acceptable vices next week. We've been going on about an hour or
So
so.
we need to talk about Overwatch.
Yeah, play Overwatch.
That's right. Next week on Acceptable Vices, we're going to be talking about Overwatch. Maybe while playing Overwatch, maybe not.
I don't know if we want to bring the team down.
No, we do. We definitely do.
We want to make our own team.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe we'll play Overwatch against Rim. Rim wanted to get a big 6v6 thing going on.
Well,
sometime
he wants
this
to
weekend.
kill all of us.
Yeah, he wants
We
to
shall see.
specifically. He wants to diva kill all of us.
He wants to be diva.
Rim is happiest when he's exerting his superiority.
Yeah. In the meantime, hopefully you will catch us next week, and we'll see you then. You will hear from us then. Good. Thank you, Churba, George, Skojo, and Nelson for a very illuminating episode of Friday Night Party Line. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Night. Night.
Hey, we actually disagree.